Growing up, I always considered myself lucky to have a decent sized house. However, it didn't come without its flaws. And I'm talking about the basement. At first, I thought the basement would be a super cool place for my friends and me to hang out, sort of like my own bat cave. But I quickly learned that it wasn't a place I wanted to spend any more time than I had to. It started when I was about 7 years old. We had lived in the house for almost a year by that point, when out of nowhere, something strange started happening. It started in the middle of the night one day, when everyone in my house was woken up by a loud slamming sound. I sat up in my bed, but didn't dare to move as I waited to see if I heard anything else. That was when I heard my dad call out for me and ask if I was alright. I responded to let him know what I was fine. I asked him what happened, but I couldn't quite hear his answer. At that point, I was curious and got out of my bed and walked over to the hallway and stuck my head out. That was when I saw my mom and dad standing in front of the basement, looking down the stairs. They saw me and told me to go back to bed. So that's what I did. However, this wasn't the last time we were woken up by that same noise. We quickly figured out that something was causing the basement door to unlatch, and its way was causing it to swing open and slam into the wall. But what we couldn't figure out was how it was unlatching. What's even stranger was that on a few occasions when I saw woken up by the basement door opening, we noticed that the basement light had been turned on, but for some reason it was way dimmer than it normally was. But anytime my dad went down and checked to see if anyone had broken it, the basement was always empty. I told my friends at school about what was happening, but none of them believed me. So I did what anyone my age would do. I dared them to sleep over and spend the night in the basement with me. I admit that I was probably the most scared out of all of us that night, but I didn't like that my friends thought I was lying. That night, we all met at my house and set up our sleeping bags in the basement, with some snacks and board games to keep us busy while we waited. The hours passed, and one by one my friends started to get tired. Not me though. I was too on edge. They all got ready to lay down, and as my friends started to fall asleep, all I could do was look over to the stairs and wait. I didn't have to wait long though. My eyes widened as I noticed a bit of movement in the corner of the room that was behind the basement stairs. I could feel goosebumps crawling up my arms as I realized that there was a person coming out from underneath the stairs and making their way around and up them. I nearly gasped as they stopped at the base of the steps and turned to look at me and my friends, as if they were trying to check if we were sleeping or not. I wanted to scream for my parents, but I was too scared. The person made their way up the stairs and they opened the door before slowly walking out of the basement. Only they didn't close it enough for the door to latch. About 20 seconds later, we all heard the slamming of the door, hitting on the wall at the top of the stairs, waking up my friends around me. I thought that no one was going to believe me this time. But it turns out that my friend Jacob was still awake, and he asked me if I saw the person come out from my staircase. As soon as my parents came to the top of the stairs, I found the courage to call out for them. They came running down the stairs, and Jacob and I explained to them what we saw. And that was when my dad discovered a small cubby behind the staircase that we didn't know about. My dad ended up setting up a camera in the basement to catch whoever it was that was doing it. And it turned out to be one of his co-workers that had recently lost their house. He had apparently been breaking in while my parents were at work, and sleeping under the stairs before leaving, while we were all sleeping. The man had actually been over to our house before when we first moved in, which was when my dad thinks he got the idea to sleep there. Needless to say, he was arrested for breaking and entering, but he didn't try to fight the charges.